If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
Good afternoon, Baltimore. Again, my name is Simon Habtemariam. Habtemariam, like Mr. Aparicio just finally pronounced. It is 5:40 on a Friday afternoon, and everybody's in their cars, probably sitting on the Beltway right now, trying to get home in this 104-degree weather day. But while we're out there, let's talk a little bit of sports. Let's start with the Orioles, like we were just talking about. The Orioles hopefully trying to bolster this pitching staff. Dan Duquette, I am sitting here right now in the WNST studio begging you to make a move that will make me a believer. You completely stunned me going into this season when you brought in the likes of Lindstrom, the likes of Hamill, and you told me that these guys were going to be legitimate pitchers and that they were worth getting rid of a fan favorite like Jeremy Guthrie. And I've been blown out of this world with that move. Nobody saw that move coming, and you guys absolutely floored me with that. Now, please tell me that you're not pinning the hopes of this fan base solely on a move for Jim Thome, solely on the move for a 41-year-old designated hitter who can very much do pretty good things, but he's not a pitcher. When three of your pitchers right now are in Norfolk, please tell me you're making a serious move and then actually go forth and make some sort of a serious move to bolster this pitching staff. Like Nestor was just saying, enough of the can-be's, enough of the maybes. We've had the potential in here for so long, but you can't win off of potential. You can't win off of Zach Britton's potential. You can't win off of Chris Tillman's potential. And you can't win off of Jake Arrieta's potential, who up to this point had been a 500 pitcher in his career solely off of potential. But look at what's happened on this season. 3-9. +6 ERA. That's not going to do it. That's not going to do it in the American League East. That's not going to do it in the American League. How are you going to convince me that this pitching staff is going to go across the country and face the likes of C.J. Wilson and face the likes of Jared Weaver, and they will contend, and they will even contend for a wild card spot. They will even contend for 81 wins. They're almost there. They're halfway there, and I'm still not a firm believer that this team will be above the 500 mark should they not bring in a legitimate contender for this starting rotation. Without that sort of sigh of relief every 5 days that you sort of get with Hamill, that you sort of get with Chen, without having at least a third option to make us feel like, okay, we'll win 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 will put you in a pretty good position right now. Please, Dan Duquette, I am begging you, make a move that will convince me that this organization is committed to winning, because everybody here knows that the front office, up until hopefully recently, has not been committed to winning. It doesn't take a fanatic like me, it doesn't take an organization like WNST to tell you that this organization has not been committed to winning over the past decade, over the past 14 years, since I was 9 years old, Dan Duquette. Please change what's happening here. Come in here, change the culture, give me some sort of tangible evidence that this team will do something that nobody expected them to do this year, that this team will go out and will contend, that they will go out and they will play well in September, that they will be legitimate in September, that people will actually care what the Orioles are doing past July. That being said, Orioles fans, as much as I might be ranting right now, please get off the ledge. Don't jump. Things are still positive. Things are still on the up and up. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. They're still 6 games above 500. That's a lot more than we could say last year. They were 13 games under this time last year. Last year, did anybody even have a shred of knowledge in their head thinking that this team would come back in and be even close to being in the same room as being called a buyer at the deadline? Did anybody expect that this team would be concerned about how many wins they would have this season coming into this year? Nobody did. They're well above what the expectations would have told us this season. They're well above what the odd makers would have told us going into the break. Dylan Bundy's in the All-Star game, the Futures game. The potential's still there. We've had potential. There's plenty of potential. Let's forget about that. They have wins on the board. They are a majorly contending, run-producing team. They've been in a slump lately. These past 16 games have been rough, yes. But look at the scoreboard. At the end of the day, there are still more wins in the win column than there are in the loss column. Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's go over to Ravens talk right now, because I'm going to lose my voice if I continue to shout about the Orioles. Ravens season's coming up. Everybody's excited. Everybody's pumped. And again, Ravens fans, we have the nature to sort of want to jump off the ledge when things start to not go our way a little bit. This team can win 12 games, but if Ed Reed maybe is not making tackles like he used to, if Ray Lewis is hurt and is out 6 games with turf toe, if we get a new defensive coordinator in here every 2 to 3 years, that's something that just wants to send Ravens fans off the ledge. Ravens fan, this is still a good team, and for once you actually have an organization that's committed to winning in this town, let's not jump off the ledge here. Let's calm down. It's still the offseason. Everybody wants to try to generate stories in the offseason. Everybody wants to come out with their top 100 list voted by the players, top 100 lists voted by the media, top 100 left-handed players, top 100 team helmet decals. Everybody wants to try to generate these sort of off-season stories. Everybody wants to pick apart every sort of roster because we're so addicted to football that we want to try to break it down year-round. Breathe a little bit, Ravens fans. You have a good team. There will be a good season coming up. You can't predict wins and losses necessarily, but you can go into the season rest assured that something positive will come out. It's happened for the last 4 years. This team's been in contention for the last 4 years. We've not gone into a season really paranoid or afraid that anything bad would happen for the last 4 years. Let's not jump off a ledge here, Ravens fans. Let's calm down. Let's still watch some of these Orioles games, because for once, we can actually watch Orioles games in July and not have to pick apart Ravens rosters and roster moves and who's coming in, who's committed, who's overweight, like we used to. We actually have something to keep our minds off of it. While we're keeping our minds off of it, let's get out of Baltimore sports for a second. Let's go over to sport I'm really passionate about. I love mixed martial arts. I love the UFC. I will watch UFC all day long. I will watch UFC until my fiance complains and asks me to turn it off because there's too much blood and there's too much guys kicking and punching and elbowing each other in the face. Tomorrow night, huge fight coming up, UFC 148, Anderson Silva, Chael Sonnen live on pay-per-view. I can't wait. One, because Anderson Silva is my favorite fighter. Two, and no, I'm not saying that because I'm a front runner. I'm saying that because I've wrestled in my life. I've taken Muay Thai in my life. This guy's nasty. This guy's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. But I'm tired of the hype machine that's been generated, just like Major League Baseball does, just like the NBA does, just like the NFL does, and tries to have this continual circle of hype going on. The UFC is starting to even shade into WWE territory in that they're trying to generate this hype machine that is just a little bit too thin, and it's starting to get really annoying. And these guys like Chael Sonnen, these guys, these big trash talkers that try to hype these fights, it really gets annoying after a while. I was trying to watch a special last night on Fuel TV. I was trying to watch this leading up to the fight, UFC primetime. I can't believe some of the garbage they let on the airwaves these days just to sort of generate this hype machine. And I can't wait for Anderson Silva to KO the living sense out of Chael Sonnen tomorrow night at UFC 148. That's my official prediction right there for all of you guys that like to hit me up on Twitter, that like to argue with me about UFC stuff. My official prediction, Anderson Silva KO in the first. It won't even be a contest. Back to the Baltimore sports scene coming up. College football's coming up. Ravens fans, Towson fans, you guys have a lot to look forward to. Terps fans, there's no way that they're going to be as bad as they were last year. I'm not a big Randy Edsall fan, but Terps fans, they're not going much further down. Randy Edsall's a program builder, so it usually is he has to make everything a little bit dirtier before he can come in and rebuild the team there, sort of change the culture and put his program in there. But Terps fans, calm down. You guys will be in contention probably within the next 2 years, at least in the ACC while the ACC's down. I don't really want to, I don't have enough confidence in them to say that they will be in contention on the national landscape. Towson fans, a lot's coming up this year. Like Nestor and I were talking about earlier, Towson's going to do big things again. They're not going to sneak up on anybody this year. They're not going to have a few of those lucky wins that they had last time. They're not going to be able to go into a game against New Hampshire. They're not going to be able to go into a game against these top contending CAA teams and have nobody expect them to come out and just stomp all over them. They will be able to run with authority like they did last year. Terrence West, one of the best players in the FCS, probably will go on to the next level, but at least for now, we'll continue to put up some amazing numbers. We'll continue to rack up the stat sheet. But Towson fans, Terp fans, college football fans in Maryland, you have something to look forward to this season. Things are going to be good. You can rest assured, just like the Orioles fans, just like the Ravens fans. Guys, I'm passionate too, but come off the ledge. Rest assured, there will be a good product this fall. There's plenty of good football to go around, and there's plenty to talk about from now until then, now that the Orioles are still in contention. But that's all I'm going to talk about for this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, Baltimore, thank you for having me. Nestor, thank you for having me. Baltimore, this is Simon Habtemariam signing off.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.